Hello, welcome back to my garden here in Denmark. It's the 30th of June and the garden is very lush, and it's been sort of a while since I've given an update, and that's because either the weather has been really bad or I have been really sick. So those two things combined made for very few garden videos. But I'm back, but unfortunately the bad weather has not really given up though, so 1 out of 2 is pretty good, right? But do look at the garden. We've had a lot of rain this year. It's been a very wet year in Denmark so far, and yeah, we had a dry period. I think it was in March or April, but other than that, it's just been raining most of the time. All of the plants have been affected by this because they have become very, very lush, put on a lot of growth. You can see right here, geranium and Thompson looking really good. It's gonna flower for a really long period. This is a really good doer. I can recommend geranium and Thompson, looking really great. Also in there, geranium Roseanne will flower from as soon as it starts flowering in June and right up until frost. So that is gonna flower for months on end. So geranium Roseanne and also this geranium and Thompson, I believe, almost flowering as long as geranium Roseanne. Also in here, I can't remember the species name, but it's Moorheim Beauty. And that is going to look really, really great in just a couple of days, starting out already. That is a nice looking specimen in there, and it has become very tall this year. My guess is that it's gonna flop at some point. I should have done what's called a Chelsea chop earlier this year. That is, you reduce the plant height, and what's gonna happen is the plant is gonna reshoot. At least some plants do, and this is a plant that you can Chelsea chop, and hence they're gonna get a little bit sturdier stems, and also the reshooting will provide multiple stems, and hence it can flower a lot more, but will also flower a bit later. So it's sort of like a sacrifice, but I think the main feature is that it can prevent a plant from flopping, and this is very likely to flop over. But yeah, I'm not gonna do it now. Daylilies, two really, really beautiful looking daylilies, right? Not enormous flowers though, bit smaller, half size of my hand approximately. But do look at those, they are looking really great, and with Nepeta Walker Slow in the foreground. And geranium Roseanne in there, that is not looking half bad. That's looking quite good. Also, I moved this apple tree, but with all of that rain we've had this year, yeah, you can't, no chance of messing that up. So that's growing really nicely. More daylilies. And in here, yeah, quite a hole in here, and the reason for this hole is I had this Jacob's ladder that I told you about last video in here, and I actually recommended that quite a lot, and now it's gone, and it got mildew, probably due to all of the wet this year. I trimmed it to the ground, it reshooted and got mildew right away, and then I gave up. And yeah, I do however believe that in this garden I plant very, very densely, right? And that will reduce the ventilation or airflow in the border quite a lot, combined with this wet and then some warmth. And yeah, mildew, if a plant can get mildew, it's likely to get it right here. So I ended up deciding to remove it. Very sorry about that though, because it had a really nice looking flower. But anyhow, moving on. Over on this side, quite good looking again. You can see that I really like planting in geranium Roseanne. at the back of these borders, and basically here, there and everywhere. And that's because I use Geranium Roseanne as a plant that will sort of carry my borders. Basically, since it flowers for so long, there's always gonna be some interest in the border as long as you have some Geranium Roseannes in there. And also, they have a very tight looking foliage. I really like them a lot. And planting so densely as I do in here also ensures that there aren't that many weeds. Yeah, it has drowned out a hydrangea in there, a pina colada variety. I think I'm gonna perhaps shave the, the Roseanne back a bit. In a couple of years it won't be a problem. The pina colada in there will become a couple of meters tall, so it's a temporary issue. But oh yeah, and before we forget, yeah, of course this border over here I will remove that, or rather move it. It will become grass again, but that project has basically been standing still for the last couple of weeks. Not done anything to it. I weeded a little bit in my borders, but that was about it. Other than that, my health has not been all too great. And now this, I think this is the largest daylily flower-wise that I have. That is a really really big flower, right? And it's an unusual form. It's a spider form due to almost having spider legs, right? And also a nice looking yellow throat, and again with these red petals. That is not a bad daylily right there. And healthy looking foliage, very tall foliage, very tall flower stem as well. And of course, with my usual luck, it is presenting the flower in the opposite direction of where we're filming. So that's just how that is. Over here, yeah, very yellow daylily. Yeah, some people do not like yellows. I tend to have some yellows, but I limit it. And of course, the rules with yellows is basically it will mess up your color scheme. So the problem with yellows is, if you look at this right now, you will primarily notice the yellow. Right away your eye will wander to the yellow. If you just close your eyes and open them again, they'll wander to the yellow. And hence people do tend to limit the use of yellow. I've limited a bit. I have removed some daylilies that have yellow, but this particular one, I just like a lot. If you do use yellow, the rule is basically use them at the front of the border, because they draw your eye, and your eye will hence be drawn to the front of the border, and that will make your border look deeper. And of course, having mentioned that rule, I have a yellow at the back here as well. Now, that is just good looking, right? So it stays, and these plants are too large to have at the front, if you ask me. But of course they could have been sort of used as an edging right here, and then you could just walk at either side of them, right? So in general, it's a bad practice to have a yellow at the back, because it will draw your eye to the back of the border, and that will make your border look as though it isn't as deep as it is. But yeah, the rules are meant to be broken, right? Also in here, honorable mention, really nice looking hosta, right? Some slug damage on that one, and I'm gonna mention that one because I have some hostas that have quite a lot of slug damage on them, but not up here in the pond area. My hostas tend to look really nice. So there's sort of like a difference throughout the garden where they get eaten a lot and where they don't, and it might just come back down to dumb luck basically. Notice up here again hostas. And in there, yeah, last video I mentioned the obedient flower that was spreading like crazy with root shoots and everything. I did take that one out. That was just, and it's called an obedient plant. Yeah, right. Definitely not as obedient as one might have hoped. Yeah, and in there, the odd flower on my Magnolia Sieboldi. and it suffered a bit from frost damage, but has recovered quite nicely. And it will basically give you odd flower throughout summer. That's what Sea Boldly can do for you. Normally one large flowering at the beginning of the year, but that one basically got taken by the frost, and then a couple of flowers later in the year. Also in there, taller than I am, Veronicastrum, and I believe this one is called Lavender Turma or something like that. I'll put in the name, but just look at that. Foliage, hemp-like foliage, flower spikes, not so hemp-like, looking really great. Only issue in there is, again, I should probably have Chelsea chopped that one. I don't usually have issues with those flopping, to be honest, but this year with that height, I very much doubt that it can support it, and as you can see, it has flopped a little bit already. And where the issue will build up is that the flowers will get heavy due to rain, then it will be windy, and then they'll flop. And if I had chopped those down though, they would have been multi-stemmed. And what I actually like about these is this single, really nice, slender looking tower spike, you know, so it's sort of a trade-off if you Chelsea chop those. But this year, it's gonna look horrible when it flops, so I should have done it. Didn't do it, and that's just how that is. In here, again, hostas looking really great. And this part of the border was actually, I did move a couple of, they are also Veronicastrums, but a bit of a different foliage, right? You can see them in there at the back. Not the same hemp-like foliage, but also of the Veronicastrum species. I don't think they're gonna flop though. And I planted a crab apple in there. And again Roseanne, and again, is it Anne Folkhardt or is it Anne Thompson? I don't know, but one of those geraniums at the front. Daylily, looking great. And I am gonna move this tree, and it's gonna get moved because it becomes too tall, and it's gonna get moved to the back of the new border down there. Yeah, you can't see it from here, but it's down there. Wow, right? That is, again, let's see if we can just, and a nice looking hue as well, Irish hue, yellow variety, looking really good. But these daylilies, and yeah, the flower shape has been a little bit affected by some slug damage, but it's still looking good. Yeah, due to all of the wet, the slugs have just had their own little party going on in this garden. But in general, things are looking great though. Hydrangea Limelight. That will be a flower show in a couple of weeks. Again, Veronicastrum. Let's just see if we can sort of get the perfect shoot right here. I do need a cover photo for my video. That is looking quite good, right? Let's see if it makes the cut. And again, in there, Veronicastrum at the back, you can see it actually does rather well in a shady position as well. It's quite shady in there. The Veronicastrum is actually doing quite nice. My guess is that's half shade, right? We'll get some sun in early morning. That's not bad looking either, right? And yeah, over here, Catmint Walker Slow. Yeah, also one that's just a bee magnet. If you ask me, Nepeta Walker Slow, that's a really nice one. Will flop a bit here because the soil is quite good, but still, that is one of the really nice looking Nepetas, if you ask me. Will get taller than you think though. Due to the name Walker Slow, you're thinking, it will get very low, but still it will get some height on it. I had a couple of them die deeper within the border, and I believe that was due to the wet. All of my borders are raised a little bit up, and hence on the edges of them the water will drain better. So I think the Walker Slow probably best planted where water can at least run off. Easy to divide though, so as long as some of them survive, I'm gonna be fine. Yeah, geranium and Thompson forms a mound. Gets really, really huge when it has enough water apparently, right? And geranium Roseanne. And somewhere below there, I believe there's a hue. Yeah, it is in there. Well, the hue can take the shade, so let's hope the best for the hue. Yeah, additional daylilies. I actually removed, yeah, you probably didn't notice, but I actually removed quite a lot of daylilies this year, and with quite a lot I mean 5. And the reason why I removed some is that I had some, yeah, I showed you the yellow one, but I had additional yellow ones that were, the one up there can best, that I had in the video, can best be described as yellow orangey, while these others were yellow. And also, yeah, and I removed another one, I believe that was actually a wider variety, but the issue is that the foliage on it was just so ugly, so at least in my mind. So every now and then you make a tough choice, right? And since that border up there is going to become grass, I'm gonna sort of have a surplus of plants. Even though some of them are going to get moved to the new border, I still believe that I'm gonna have a surplus at the end of the year. So some tough choices were made, but yeah, yellows, use it sparingly. That would be my advice. Depending on the garden, of course, right? But yellow, it's just harder to use than quite a lot of other colors. Oh yeah, honorable mention daylily entwined in the vine. And this picture just doesn't give it. This is really a really great daylily, if you ask me. Reason being, foliage looking good, flower looking good, and the amount of buds on this plant. And believe me, a couple of those, when like 4 or 5 of those open up at the same time, that is just looking stunning. And so that's actually a really good daylily. I like this one as well, though. Look at that one. Almost yellow, but actually lime. Not sure if it's picked up a lime throat. And then this really soft flower color. That is a great looking plant. Foliage, yeah, somewhere down there in the geraniums. Again here, yeah, you can see this. This is the only place where you can say that the downside to geranium Roseanne is that it gets so tall. It, especially this year where it's been so rainy, it just becomes very tall. 2 or 3 feet perhaps. And as you can see, it's in the witch hazel. It's actually flowering inside of the witch hazel. And I did cut a couple of stems of geraniums out of the witch hazel. Yeah, I didn't cut into the witch hazel, of course. It looks yeah, actually doesn't look that bad right now, right? But just do watch out a little bit if you have sort of like a plant that doesn't get too tall. Geranium Roseanne might strangle it, right? Haven't had the issue here, but it's definitely something to watch out for. Oh, and Lambsium, yeah, right here, foliage-wise, you know. Daylily foliage, looking really nice, right? Lambsia, again a different foliage, an Irish hue, yellow variety, yeah. Yellow and yellow, yeah, yellow greenish, right? Looking really good. And oh, it's a herb, oh, what's it called? Oregano in a yellow variety. Also looking great, right? And a rose in there. What's it called? Rose, Lady of Shalott, David Austin, right? And just look at the foliage. Just look at that. Now that is a nice looking rose right there. And the positive side about this one as well is I've never had black spot or anything in that rose. I did recommend that Jacob's ladder though, and basically a couple of weeks after I ended up removing it, right? So with my basic luck, this one will get some sort of spots or disease or something a couple of days in the future. But all in all, I think it's rather safe to recommend this rose. Rose, Lady of Shalott, I really like it. What I don't like so much in here is that I've not yet removed this this geranium in here. Was supposed to be like 20 centimeters tall, and it's almost taller than the rose, and that one has to go. Especially since it's one of those variety that has a really dense foliage, and hence it's shading out this rose. And yeah, it's the only positive thing about it is that it's really easy to decide which one gets to live, right? Definitely the rose. Yeah. Yeah, again. Yeah, this is sort of like a really, really nice shot if you just stand right here and take a photo, right? That's not half bad. What do I have in here? Red valerian, looking really nice. I think the red valerian also combines quite nicely with the variegated tulip tree that I have right here. That's a nice combination. And also, yeah, it's a parsley, I can't remember the name of it. And again, a different flower shape, a totally different flower shape. That's what this parsley will give you. It's a parsley that will come back every year, and it's not meant for cooking in any way. It's an ornamental plant, but it's a perennial, will come back, will spread by seeds as well. I see it as a plus, but I see it as a plus because quite often I will mulch. So those plants that seed, I don't have that many worries about it. So I'm not sure if it's a problem if it does, but of course you could just remove the seeds, right? In there, hydrangea, can't remember the variety. It's called a Floyles hortensia in Danish. That is, oh, and there's a moped coming down the road. Yeah, let's just have that one pass. That is a nice looking flower as well, right? Oh, I should not have zoomed in. Oh, nice looking plant. Daylily, not that huge a flower, but really nice color on it, right? And it's a really tall stem as well, and I like that. Also, if you noticed, all of my daylilies are close to the front of the border, and the reason is daylilies, in some ways they are quite easy to maintain, and in other ways they are quite hard to maintain, and it all depends on you as a person basically. Because daylilies, the flower will only last for one day. So if you're very tidy, you're gonna go around and remove those flowers once they've stopped flowering, right? So every day you're gonna go around the garden and remove all of those flowers that flowered the day before. Or if you are not that kind of person, then they aren't that much work, right? So it depends a lot on you. But also daylilies do tend to suffer from, there's a fly that will sting the individual flower buds, and they will swell up, and they will not go into flower, but instead the eggs will hatch, and next year these will of course infect additional flowers. And yeah, I of course I'm the tidy one, or somewhere in between. Let's just put it that way. And hence all of my daylilies are at the front of the border, so that I can remove all buds that have swollen up. Not that many this year though, and also so that I can tidy them up, remove that spent flower head, right? But as I said, it depends a lot on you. If you are very tidy, you could go for varieties with larger flowers, right? This one, for example, not a lot of flower buds, but really tall, or rather large flowers, and hence not a lot of tidying up. Has been affected a little bit by slugs, and yeah, this is the place where apparently the slugs, for some reason, or the snails, really like to graze away on the foliage here. And I don't know why this area is affected so heavily, but right here is where the prime, where they sort of really munch away at my border, right? So there's quite a hole in there, but if that leaves the rest of the border untouched, then yeah, I'm not sure if it's fine by me, but better than having them mulch away at everything, right? Rose in here, yeah, and again, right here, this is where my main project at the moment is going on, because this path right here is going to get extended into this area, basically. Basically, it's gonna get moved from there where I removed some of the grass to here, and the path is 2 meters wide and will continue just around this area around here. And hence the path will lead up to my windows, and when you look straight out the windows, you'll be looking down the path. And I think that will be better than how it was before. And in here, I'm gonna put in a flower bed, and it's gonna be basically the border that I'm gonna remove from where we were. I'm gonna remove the flower border up there and put in grass, and down here I'm gonna move all of those plants into right here. So quite a project going on, right? The blueberries in there are looking really good. Moved them from here earlier this year and into there. This must be the most luck I've ever had when moving blueberries, right? Because this has been the wettest year in Danish recorded history, I think, at least for some of the months. And hence I haven't watered those blueberries a lot, and I would really dislike having to water them, because the water here is contains quite a lot of what's it called, chalk, or what you call it, and hence it would raise the pH, and I'm not interested in raising the pH. So thank you to the rain for that, but on the other hand, my project would have been farther along if it hadn't rained that much. But yeah, you can't get everything right. Yeah, thank you for watching, and do like and subscribe. Bye bye.